And here we go, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Jamal About Sports. This episode of Jamal About Sports is brought to you by South River Watch Company. Discover the essence of timeless elegance with South River Watch Company. Inspired by the breathtaking beauty of the Chesapeake Bay and the serene South River, their watches capture the spirit of adventure and craftsmanship. Whether you're sailing on the bay or exploring the city, let South River Watches accompany you on your journey. Embrace the artistry of time. You can visit them at southriverwatchcompany.co and experience the perfect blend of style and functionality. South River Watch Company, time beautifully inspired. All right, we've got a big show to get to. We've got Major League Baseball, we've got NFL, football, and we've got some NBA. But I am thrilled to welcome my main man, Chuck Gora.
Pleasure to be here, and going back to the time reference, it looks like our time may be beginning, and I'd like to start obviously with some very up-to-date and current news, and unfortunately, time has come to an end for one, famous coach, Lou Holtz. So, rest in peace to the great coach Lou Holtz. Not the way we want to start off a very productive, high-energy show, but nonetheless, something that needed to be said. Super excited to be here. Finally, happy to put some of my graduate school degree from the beautiful University of Syracuse to use in some capacity in my later life.
Very nice. Well, tell the listeners a little bit about you, my man.
I think that the most pertinent thing to this is that I'm a diehard Philadelphia sports fan, a very knowledgeable fan across the board, other than, in all fairness, NHL hockey. But I played football.
By the way, we don't talk about hockey on this show.
Well, then we're not.
I have no interest.
I played D3 football at Hamilton College, where I led the team in scoring my junior year.
How many touchdowns was that?
2 over the whole year. And 12 points led the defeated Continentals, defeated 0-8. It was one game against Middlebury.
Some would call that winless.
It's defeated. I think we were really defeated. There was more than just wins and losses. There was just a team that, my buddies and I would go to the local bar in Clinton, New York, Don's Rock, and pretty much be like, I could start for other NESGAC teams. I know I could. And I do actually. I could have. But, when you choose to go to Hamilton because your high school girlfriend goes to Cornell, that relationship lasted. My college football career lasted 4 years longer than that relationship.
Well, not surprising. So, did you guys play such powerhouses as Hobart, or no? They're too big. Allie Marpet, by the way, Hastings on Hudson's own Allie Marpet.
That's
Hobart grad and played in the NFL for a fair amount of time with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, won a Super Bowl with the Tom Brady.
Did you guys play Skidmore? Did they have a football team?
No, I think that would have still fallen. I think they're in the same conference as Hobart. We played strong academic schools like Hamilton College. We played Amherst.
Union?
I said strong academic schools. Amherst, Williams.
Oh,
Tufts,
okay.
Where I applied early.
Okay, gotcha. Now, okay. Middlebury
again, where my 2 touchdowns in college.
That was your glory.
I think those were really my 2 touchdowns. I led the team in receiving in other games throughout the year, the 4 years, but that was the only time I scored a touchdown was in that one game, and two different quarterbacks.
So I'm Mel Kiper Jr. right now. I'm doing my draft show. I'm doing comps. It's the combine. Chuck Gora just ran a 40. Now you're going through the drills. I'm comping you to who? Is it Mark Andrews? Is it Travis Kelce? Is it?
I would say definitely more of a Travis Kelce, who I get lookalikes for all the time.
Well, I was going to say you certainly have the look.
But, much more receiving focused. But, this was the 2000 through 2004. I just used to try and put the crown of my head into the, D lineman's chin when I was blocking. When it came to receivers or whatever out in the field, it kind of changed. But my blocking's my blocking was not my skill. And, if it speaks to anything as to why we went defeated, I was an all-state DN in high school in Jersey.
Okay.
But they needed
Lawrenceville.
But when when I got to Hamilton, they moved me to tight end, which I, was totally fine with and had a good time doing. But yeah, it was a learning experience off the field, more so than on the field a lot of the times.
And Lawrenceville, for those folks out there that don't know, the Joe Noah went to Lawrenceville after previously going to my high school alma mater, Poly Prep in Brooklyn, New York. So if I'm let me see if I can do my my best and or worst Mel Kiper impersonation if I'm grading Chuck Gora, the tight end from Hamilton. So Chuck Gora, here's the thing: good receiver, okay, needs a lot of work on the in-line blocking technique. Not great, good hands, speed a bit suspect, but really for him, I see a late round grade, maybe undrafted free agent. Needs to get a little stronger and improve on the blocking.
I think that'd be fine. I think if you were going like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to sell myself higher than that. Late round, sure, I'll take it.
All right. So speaking of which, combine and such.
Yep.
Combine just took place last week, ended on Sunday, and it looks like kind of an anomaly. But right now, anyway, word on the street is 4 guys from Ohio State are likely to get drafted in the top 10.
Yeah.
They all ran really well. Well, Carnell Tate, the receiver, didn't run great by today's crazy standards. He ran 4.52, but I think if you just watch the tape, you know that guy can run, and he's a beast, and he's got great hands. But then the Styles brothers, Sonny Styles, the linebacker, former safety, who's 6'5", 245, ran like a 4.46. And then his brother, I think, is it Lorenzo, or am I making that up? We'll look it up in a second. Ran 4.27, which is insane. And then Caleb Downs, the safety, did not run at all, but he interviewed with all the teams and apparently was killed the interviews. You watch his tape also. Tremendous player. So 4 guys from Ohio State could go in the top 10, which is insane. Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, ran sub 4.4. He ran 4.36. He's like 220 pounds. Like Jahmyr Gibbs ran a 4.36.
Yeah.
Except he's 208 pounds. And Jeremiah Love's like 220 running that number. I mean, that's nuts. The whole theme to me of the combine was speed. I mean,
absolutely.
At every position, guys were. I believe this year was the fastest overall 40 times of any combine ever.
Well, as an Eagles fan, with Dallas Goedert, his future with the Eagles in question, naturally, tight end's a huge spot for us, and everybody, and Kenan Sadiq is the tight end. And a lot of people were projecting he could fall to the latter part of the first round.
Yeah.
But after the combine he put up, no, he's going to be a top 15 pick. And, speaking of speed, I think he ran the fastest 40 as a tight end since Vernon Davis.
That's correct. 4.39.
Alma mater.
Yeah, Maryland.
Yep.
Yeah, my alma mater as well. Yeah, he did. It's interesting with him because he's not. I mean, he's in sick shape, but he's like 6'3", 245, right? Which is not small, but, the blocking is not really his thing. So, I mean, I think he's a willing blocker, and I think he'll get better as a blocker in the pros. But right now, he's more of obviously a pass-catching tight end. The other kid is Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, who used to be a quarterback, who's like 6'5",
yep,
250 or something, and he also ran a pretty good time. Let me see. He was, I think, maybe he might have been sub 4.5 also, which is nuts.
I'm looking at a mock draft right now because I just wanted to see where the Styles brothers were getting mocked.
Yeah.
And in the second round, whoever this is on ESPN has Stowers going 54 to the Eagles in the second round. So
there you go.
That tracks.
There you go. I don't think you would hate that as an Eagles fan, would you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the number of former quarterbacks that Lane Johnson was a former quarterback, and he's been the best right tackle in football for the past.
Well, he's been around a long time because I remember the year that he got drafted. I want to say it was 2013, maybe. There was some debate as to whether or not the Lions were going to have a chance to draft him. The Eagles picked ahead of the Lions and took him, and then the Lions ended up drafting Ziggy Ansah, who was pretty good for them for a few years, a defensive end out of BYU. All right, let's see. Kenan Sadiq ran a 4.39. R.J. Maryland, who I like, another tight end out of SMU, ran 4.51. Eli Stowers also ran a 4.51. So there you go. But at his size, at 6'5" and 240, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Not bad. Let me turn the phone off, by the way. That wasn't great. Forgot about that.
Yeah, rumors. It's all rumors. It's Stefon Diggs is about to be released by the Patriots. They're announcing these are all. You've got your finger on
another Maryland guy. Yeah.
Another Maryland guy. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I watched pretty much all of his college games, and I was surprised he lasted to the 5th round. He also tested very well at the combine, but this is how he's just a good example of why the draft is an inexact science.
Yeah.
Because, his production in college wasn't great, but it was because he never had a good quarterback at Maryland in all his time there. And, you can't go by one game, but they did make a bowl game his last year against Stanford, and that was when either David Shaw was the coach or maybe it was Harbaugh's last year. Stanford was a good team. They were sending a lot of guys to the pros, and Maryland got their asses kicked. But there were a few guys that stood out for Maryland in that game, and Stefon Diggs was one of them. So it's not hard to make the connection and connect the dots that, well, this guy's playing well against a team that's going to produce a bunch of pros. This guy also will be a pro. So it's not like he didn't go undrafted. He went 5th round, though, and he's had a hell of a career. I mean, he was a stud. He's not anymore. No. He's on and he's a bit of an attitude problem.
Just a bit.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some issues.
I mean, he's getting dumped, and Cardi B dumps him, and he gets released. That's a double dump.
And getting dumped by Cardi B may be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that might not be the worst problem. Bryce, did he have a kid with her? I know he's got a bunch of kids.
I believe they just had a kid together. I think so.
That's just dad of the year right there.
Yeah.
Happy father.
Yeah. Well, you had that's long been a theme. Unfortunately, I mean,
was she pregnant when the whole pink powder thing was that this past summer? Yeah, she must have been.
Maybe. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Entertaining some young ladies on a boat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I'd be surprised. I mean, someone will probably pick him up, give him a small 1-year prove it deal, maybe. I mean, he didn't really do much for the Patriots this year, did he? I mean, he had some good games, but he's not the player he used to be by any stretch. And he's got to be in the league, what now, 10 years?
Yeah. I'm on a... No,
I want to work out.
You have to go upstairs, please. You can't be down here. It's all good. I love you. I know, but you can't be down here right now. Because I'm doing a podcast right now. It's live. You have to get out of here.
Oh.
Yes. Go. No. Honey, you can work out later. I encourage you to work out. You have basketball practice later. I love you, honey. This is not a conversation now. Go.
Well, hey, man. What are you going to do?
All I'm doing is building athletes. That's all.
You're being a good dad.
She wants to
be a good dad. I heard you say you encourage her to work out. That's very good. Very positive.
Yeah, not right now. And she's got basketball practice in an hour and a half. You need to be ready for basketball practice, honey.
There you go. There you go. Work on that jump shot.
That's her mid game would actually take her pretty far.
Work on that. Work on that baby fadeaway.
The last thing, she could throw a little shoulder into somebody and try and create some separation. Last thing about the combine, and I think, to your point, there's not a specific, there is a specific science to it, but it's unpredictable in so many ways because there's so many things that could go wrong. But Ty Simpson really emerged as, I'm surprised in some ways that he's not climbing up the board a lot more, and maybe he will by the time it gets to draft day. But everything I saw from the little that I did watch, but everything I've read in the aftermath is, he really put on a clinic as far as just great throws, great footwork. He's coming from not necessarily the most winning Alabama program lately, but nonetheless, it's a program where you want to be elite, you want to be the best you can be, and
it's Alabama.
Yeah,
they're still good. I mean, I think the knock on him is a couple of things, right? He got hurt. He had like a little bit of a medical issue. He lost some weight, and he's only made 15 starts in college. So that's sort of the negatives on him. But all the other stuff is there, including the intangibles.
Yeah.
I bet you're right. I think some team, as he keeps working out, the pro days, all that stuff, some team's going to fall in love with him. Mm-hmm. The other guy I think is going to who could sneak into the first round is Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Mm-hmm. He had a really good junior year. He's a coach's kid, right? His father, Doug Nussmeier, also played in the pros. He was nothing more than a backup, but still played in the pros, and he was a coach. And he was a big-time recruit, and he had a good year his junior year at LSU. He had a bad year this year, but everybody at LSU had a bad year. And he also was playing hurt. He had like an oblique injury. He said he was in agony every time he threw the ball. But he had a good Senior Bowl week of practice. He had a good Senior Bowl game. Would not be surprised to see him sneak into the end of the first round, maybe for a team like the Rams, maybe, if they're looking for the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. Well, Simpson could go there too. That certainly would make a lot of sense. Although, by the way, did you see the Rams just made a big trade?
I know the Rams don't give a shit about their draft picks. The first round pick this year. Yeah, they traded for what's his name, the cornerback from Kansas City,
Trent McDuffie. Yeah,
McDuffie,
good player.
Good player. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess that
he's only 26.
I know. I guess Kansas City wasn't going to re-sign him to a big contract, but
I guess not. And the Rams are going to lose a couple of guys in free agency too. So. Look, as long as Stafford's healthy and they have Puka Nacua and some of those guys on defense, they're always going to be a threat.
Jared Verse is still, I think, blossoming into. I think he will continue to get better. I mean, he was just the second year. I mean, he'll get better.
Yeah. And then my Lions made a big trade a couple days ago.
You guys traded David Montgomery.
We did. To Houston.
How do you feel about that?
So my initial reaction was, let me just back it up for a second. So obviously thrilled with year 2 when they won, I think, 6 out of the last 8 games, beat the Packers on Sunday night to knock dickhead Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs. That thrilled me. And they went 9-8, and that felt like making the playoffs.
Yeah, I remember.
And given the depths to which they had sunk, which even for them was pretty far, that was a very satisfying year as a fan. Then the next year they go 12-5. They win 2 playoff games. They're a half away from going to the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell loses his mind, goes for it on 4th down twice rather than kicking field goals. They lose the game. Then the next year, 15-2. Great regular season, ends horribly with a bad home loss to the Redskins. A lot of people gave him a pass because they had so many people hurt on defense. All this is to say, Brad Holmes, the general manager, was thrilled with him. Last 2 years, the drafts have not been very good. He's been reckless, trading up for projects. First of all, trading up in the draft is bad business, just as a general rule. Second of all, the guys he traded up for were projects, and now the argument was, well, these guys have a lot of talent. We're going to get them in our program. We'll basically redshirt them for a couple of years, and then they'll be ready. Well, one of them was this guy, Giovanni Manu, who's a giant offensive tackle from British Columbia University. And this is something Howie Roseman would do, but it would work for the Eagles.
Yeah.
It has not worked, right?
Like Jordan Mailata, right?
Exactly. And so now the Lions still need another offensive tackle. because this guy can't play. And they traded David Montgomery. So part of my initial...
Jamal, I'm going to be back in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Just keep going.
I will. So my issue with the David Montgomery trade initially was, look, this guy was a big part of what you do. He's the heart and soul of your team. You want to be a tough-minded team. You want to be a smash-mouth offensive team a lot of the time. You want to finish games by running the ball down the other team's throat, and he was a big part of that. As good as Jahmyr Gibbs is, as an explosive a player as he is, that's not his bailiwick, right? David Montgomery was, sort of the thunder to the lightning, if you will, of the thunder and lightning backfield. I know they call themselves Knuckles and Sonic, or Sonic and Knuckles, and so David Montgomery was the Knuckles version of that. So my initial reaction was, Brad Holmes has continued to show that he has lost his way. All of the things that he did early that made the Lions a contender, he's now shied away from and moved away from, and is now moving in a direction that, frankly, I don't understand. So that was my initial reaction. But then when I saw that they got a 4th-round pick, a 7th-round pick next year, whatever, who cares? Juice Scruggs, he was a former 2nd-round pick as recently as 2023 for Houston. But that's all right. So I was just saying that initially I was upset. Then I saw they got a 4th-round pick back. Don't hate it. The Lions, because they did so much trading up, don't have a 3rd-round pick in this draft. So now at least they have 2 4th-round picks. This guy, Juice Scruggs, that they got, he's a kind of a 2nd-round pick bust from Houston. He's still pretty young. He was drafted in 2023 out of Penn State. He started some games at center. He started some great games at guard. He's been rated very poorly at both. So, Hank Fraley's Lions offensive line coach. He's one of the best in the league.
Former Eagles center?
What's that?
Former Eagles center?
I was just going to say former Eagles lineman, yep. So I'm sure the thinking there is, maybe Fraley can unlock whatever potential was in there that made him a 2nd-round pick, but they're not going to hand him a job. He'll have to compete, and they'll see. So initially I didn't like it. I'm sort of warmed up to it a little bit because of the 4th-round pick. And, but I don't understand. Like, it worked so well the first 2 years. They couldn't have figured it out this year. Like, why all of a sudden? Yes, I get it that Gibbs is more explosive and is a threat to go all the way every time he touches the ball. But, Montgomery had plenty of long runs too, not as many as Gibbs. But that's what made them great, is that they're both really good but different styles. And when you want to put the game away and hammer the other team, that David Montgomery is your guy, not Gibbs. That's not his specialty. So, we'll see. Again, They traded up for this guy, Sione Vaki, from BYU a couple of years ago in the 4th round, who played his career at BYU as a safety, except to his senior year, they moved him to running back because they had literally 6 injuries, and he played well. So the Lions have made him a running back, but mostly a special teams guy. So you know what? He's like 225 pounds.
Yeah, it fits the mold.
He better work out. You can get away with doing that if the guy works. But right now, to me, the jury is very much still out on that. So I would have preferred to have kept Montgomery. They're only saving like $5 or $6 million on the cap, not a huge number. But at least they got a 4th-round pick back. So I'll take it.
Is Deuce Staley still with the Lions?
As the coach? No, he left a couple years ago. He went to Carolina, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Another former Eagle, Deuce Staley.
That's what made me think about it, because I was like, I didn't realize Hank Fraley was your offensive line coach. I didn't know that he was
a great
center forever.
He's a really good one. And in fact, Seattle interviewed him last offseason for their offense coordinator job. And so the Lions added the title of run game coordinator.
Yep.
And I gave him a raise to keep him. So yeah. Although the Lions offensive line struggled a lot this year. It's a major issue. But as we saw in the game against the Eagles when Jalen Phillips had a field day, and so did both the tackles, Davis and Carter.
Need to resign them. It's a huge priority. All 3 of the guys you just mentioned from the Eagles, Carter and Davis are still under contract. Jalen Phillips, one of the bigger free agents period. But obviously with Trey Hendrickson now not being re-signed by the Bengals, or franchise tagging him. I think
No, they didn't. He's gone.
No, exactly. But they're not re-signing him or tagging him. I think
No.
he would probably, as far as free agents go, take the top ranking. But I don't think Jalen Phillips, age-wise, is very, very much far behind.
No, the only issue with him is obviously the injuries, right? So, he's had two. He had an ACL and an Achilles, I think, in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he's a good player because he's a two-way player.
And so many of these
Plays the run well.
Yeah, but so many of these injury-prone players. Let's loosely put him in that category because he's had 2 back-to-back years.
Yeah, that's fair.
When it comes to a contract year, I'm gonna play all 17, and then they get some money, and then again, you hope that everybody stays healthy, but that it just seems like contract years, everybody stays healthy.
Well, there's an old saying in the scouting world of the NFL is when you're looking at guys to draft, hurt players stay hurt.
Yeah, 100%. Well, then you look. We don't need to talk any more Eagles, but then you look at like a Landon Dickerson, who we were able to draft in the second round out of Alabama because of his injury-prone years at like Florida State, and I think even at Alabama. And he's been, other than this past year where you almost consider retirement, was a linchpin and a mean one too, which was great.
Yeah, no, very good player. Yeah, sometimes it's just a crapshoot, right? And look, we all know football's a violent sport. So, it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. Yep. So guys are going to get hurt. It's unavoidable sometimes, you can do all the, nutrition and stretching and all this stuff and, it could all be for naught and with the best intentions, but a lot of it's just luck of the draw, frankly, as far as injuries go.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Let's move over to Major League Baseball. So
baseball. We're in the world. We're getting into the WBC. It's baseball.
That's true. What are your thoughts in general on the WBC?
Considering what happened 2 weeks ago on a Sunday when we knocked off Canada in the Olympic finals, men's and women's, Saturday and Sunday. Let's obviously be very all inclusive here. I think that hockey game has pushed the WBC and like a lot of interest for it in the United States, probably a little bit to the curb. And it's like glorified spring training. And I think it's great for glorified spring training, where I think it's let the hitters hit, let the fielders field. Yes, it's definitely more than spring training, but where I get concerned, as a Phillies fan, but I think this translates to anybody who's pitching, anybody who's a fan of a pitcher that's playing this is like, if you are on a contender, you don't want your pitcher pitching serious ball in March.
No.
And again, is it good for the sport? Sure. And you know what? I say pitchers are one thing, but 4 years ago when this thing was over, Trey Turner was the hero, and it was the new Philly, and everybody's like, he's gonna have a great year. And look at this guy. Look at this, future MVP that we picked up. 3 quarters down the line of the season, we have to orchestrate a standing ovation for him because he's in such a slump in his first year of a 9-figure contract. Like, I don't know. I think baseball. Sure, there's 162 games. Sure, you would think that adding a few here or there, 152, 152, right?
62. No, it's 62. It's too many.
But I don't know. It's a different sport where you play it too much and ligaments can go, and it's just as football is a very violent sport. It's a very like specific muscles sport, other than outside and playing the field. But pitching and hitting are so muscle focused. You play too much and things can go wrong as well. That's why there's like a 15, 30, 60-day DL.
Well, especially the pitching, right? Look.
Yeah, the pitching, yes.
This is not. There's a reason why spring training is as long as it is, so that pitchers can build up over gradually, right? the requisite arm strength to to make 30 starts. Now, baseball sadly has devalued the starting pitcher. Guys rarely forget about a complete game. Guys, if a guy goes 7 innings, it's cause for celebration.
Yeah.
And so this makes absolutely no sense to me. Why the Mets would allow Nolan McLean to pitch in this stupid thing is beyond me, particularly 3 years removed from your closer, Edwin Diaz, blowing out his knee, not even doing anything, just stepping off of the mound in celebration, and that derailed the Mets' whole season that year. It makes no sense. And by the way, the Latin countries care way more about it than we do here in the United States. It's a much bigger deal there, which is fine. Good for them. But for the life of me, I mean, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, Nolan McLean, these are, Skubal and Skeens obviously ahead of McLean by a lot, 2 of the best pitchers in the league. You got to be kidding me. It makes no sense to me. You want to let 3rd and 4th and 5th tier guys, even guys that are going to be in AAA, play, fine. Stars, absolutely not. It makes no sense to me.
I think that Skubal and Skeens, and I'm not sure this is 100% accurate. I think that they've agreed to play for Team USA, but have been very restrictive of what they'll do. Like, okay. I think that Skeens might have been like, I'll pitch once.
Right.
Like, and Skubal's like, I'll pitch twice. And I think that they probably, as much as it is their decision, not the team's decision.
Right.
The team can say, "Hey, you really want to do this? This is fine. Let's work with your let's work with your pitching coach, your trainer, and make sure that this is pretty much again glorified spring training, and that you're still working at in a system and in a sequence of not totally screwing up your arm." Or your day-to-day getting ready for the season.
I know, but you said it earlier. I mean, the more wear and tear there is, the more the likelihood there is for injury. I mean, look, and also to your earlier point, Major League Baseball wants this to happen because, I think, in part of what they just saw happen as far as the men and women's hockey teams are concerned. But they could want that all they want. The fan base doesn't care about the WBC. I think most fans are like me, and the fact that they're annoyed by it because they are nervous that their star players are going to get hurt.
And you know where I think American sentiment for this is kind of secondary? It's almost like Team USA basketball. It's like if you don't win, and it shouldn't be apples to apples. Like the Team USA should win every single Olympic gold medal there is. And every World Basketball Championship there is. Mm-hmm. For now.
Well, international is starting to close the gap a little bit.
No, 100%. But I was just saying, baseball, the American pastime. Team USA's got to win. Sure, you should, but if you don't care, and what percentage of the league nowadays is Latino? I mean, is probably pretty high up there. I mean,
I remember
I'll go to
one year. It was either Venezuela. Well, no, it was actually all 3. It was Venezuela, Dominican, and Puerto Rico. Their lineups were insane. It was like Miguel Cabrera, like 5 guys that all were like Manny Machado, and then Puerto Rico had Lindor and a bunch of really good players, and Dominican had Soto and a bunch of good players. I mean, those teams are really good. Plus, they have good pitchers. I mean, I don't think at all that the Americans are even remotely close to being better than those 3 Latin country teams at all.
How many players approximately?
I haven't really looked at the rosters this year, honestly, because I'm not that interested in it, frankly. But I find it to be a bit of a nuisance, really.
How many players approximately in the Major League, in the MLB, are of Hispanic or Latino descent?
It's a good question.
I'm looking at it right now, so I have it.
So you know the number? You know it? I would say, I'd say 40%.
30.
30. Okay. Yeah, that's a third. I mean, that's a big number. And particularly, we've seen over the course of the years, I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, there were way more black players in Major League Baseball than there are now. That's been a concern now for the last 20 to 30 years, is that black kids growing up don't play baseball.
No.
For a number of reasons, right? Access and
Yeah, access.
Facilities and equipment and things like that. It's not really promoted well in urban communities.
Well, just think about like how MLS soccer clubs are taking on these development teams, and just the same way they do over in Europe for soccer. That starts at a very young age.
Yeah.
MLB teams have the serious junior development in the Caribbean.
Yes, they do. The Mets have a huge complex in the Dominican.
But you don't see the Mets having a complex.
But you don't have one in
Long Island.
Detroit or Chicago or New York City. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. What are your thoughts on the Phillies this year? Are you bullish on them, or are we a little concerned?
I'm bullish only because I think that I will, at some point, be like, we just ran this back, and they'll outperform expectations. So us just running it back the way we did, and obviously getting completely clowned by Bo Bichette. And totally separate here, but when the Eagles lost in the first round of the Super Bowl, this recent playoffs, and then all of a sudden the rumors of Bo Bichette started to come about, like the Phillies had to make that work. It's like, you guys could steal the limelight in Philadelphia right now if you guys got Bo Bichette, and instead, all Dom Dombrowski wants to say is, we have a good club. We have a good club. It's just, we've got a great club. We've got a deep club. And, they talk about how they overturned 30% of their roster. Half those guys were bums. But I'm bullish. I'm bullish for two reasons. I think that Andrew Painter will step up in, the top prospect role that he's had after a Tommy John surgery after 2 years now.
So he'll replace Ranger Suarez, ostensibly?
Ostensibly. And obviously with Zach Wheeler being out for probably, he's apparently progressing faster than expectations, but he's looking more towards like May than June, which is great. Because if you do, Christopher Sanchez stepped up in an amazing role last year when Wheeler went down with obviously such an unexpected, blood from the shoulder.
Yeah, freak thing.
But I think if you have Wheeler and Sanchez, and again, both pitching in the Wheeler not, but Chris Sanchez pitching in the WBC, I think they could do some great stuff. I think Chris Sanchez, him, Luzardo, the lineup.
Who's the closer?
The closer's still the Enter Sandman. Why am I blanking on his name? I never saw him actually pitch live last year.
Suarez? No, Suarez is gone.
It'll come to me in a second. But it's pretty sad that it hasn't, because he was such a pickup last year. Although he did give up a couple runs when he shouldn't have. I think there'll be, when expectations get low, I feel like that team can perform. I think that Bryce Harper, again, going back to,
he should have a better year.
Yes, he should, and he's been feuding with Dom Dombrowski.
I saw that.
Season, and
it's Dave Dombrowski, by the way.
What do I keep calling him? Dom? Dom Dombrowski?
Yeah,
you might as well call him Dom.
I thought you were doing it on purpose because you're mad at him.
No, I shouldn't. Maybe I am mad at him. I keep calling him. I think that Dave Dombrowski, I just keep, Sports Talk Radio Philly, when they make fun of him, they're just like, it's always a soundboy. Wow, we have a good club. It's like, He sounds like such a nerd. But I bet you we still win the NL East.
Are we going to do our Mets Phillies bet?
Right here? Yeah, sure. Deal. $500. Best record.
Okay. Just better record, right? That's it.
Better record.
Okay.
Not worth it, but better record.
$500. I won 2 years ago. You won last year.
We didn't bet last year.
Oh, we didn't bet last year?
Maybe we bet on like a series or something.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Deal. There we go.
All right.
We're off.
All right.
I think that'll be all right. How do you think the Mets tracking this? Obviously, the Bo Bichette pickup's great.
Well, here's my thing with the Mets, and I've said this before. there are a huge amount of what ifs on this team. They could be a 92-win team. They could be an 80-win team.
Yeah.
There's a huge delta there, I think. Huge beta. So you mentioned Bo Bichette. Great hitter, right? Great clutch hitter. Career .330 batting average with runners in scoring position. Hit .380 with runners in scoring position last year. That was been a major issue for the Mets, right? They had guys that had great years statistically on paper. Nimmo had a big year. Lindor had a big year. Soto had a big year. Alonso had a big year. But yet the Mets literally went 0-70 when they were trailing after 8 innings. Did not have one comeback win the whole season. That's almost impossible to do. Wow. And they all season hit very poorly with runners in scoring position. So I love him from that perspective. However, David Stearns, the general manager, president of baseball operations, whatever his title is, it's president of baseball operations. Big thing in the offseason was run prevention, formerly known as pitching and defense. So his whole thing was we need to improve our run prevention. So you're going to put a guy at third base who's never played a game at third base in his life. Your first baseman to replace Alonso. They didn't want to give Alonso a lot of money because, among other reasons, he's 31, he's kind of a big lumbering guy, and he's a poor defender. Okay. But now you're going to put Jorge Polanco at first base, who's never played first base before in his life, ever. You've got, well, they've Soto moved to left field, which is good because he's a bad right fielder. He's average at best in left field. They traded for Luis Robert Jr. to play center field, who's a great glove, but the hitting is suspect. He had a great year 2 years ago in 23. Last year, not great. And the year before that, not great. Oft injured. So there are a lot of question marks. And then you go to the starting rotation, there are a ton of question marks there as well. Yes, Freddie Peralta is a really good pitcher. He's not an ace. The guy he didn't even average 6 innings to start last year. Nolan McLean's supposedly going to be your number 2. Okay, he made 8 starts last year. Was he very good in those 8 starts? Yes, he was. But it's a small sample size. And then now you've got the rest of the rotation. They've said they're going to go to a 6-man rotation, which I find to be irritating. So you've got basically this jumble, the rest of the rotation. So Freddie Peralta, good pickup? Absolutely. I thought they gave up too much, considering he's going to be a free agent after this year. Although, if they sign him to an extension during the season, I'll be less annoyed by the trade. But they traded one of their top 10 prospects, this kid Jet Williams, to get him, and Brandon Sproat, another top 10 prospect, actually. So 2 highly regarded prospects for a free agent. And everyone, it's so annoying to me. Everyone's like, oh, now the Mets have their ace. You can't be an ace if you average less than 6 innings to start. I'm sorry. I understand new baseball.
No, I think that's a good rule right now. Even if you don't start 6, you're not an ace.
Yeah,
if you're not averaging six an outing.
He averaged he had 176 innings pitched last year or something like that. Clay Holmes, who transitioned from closer to starter last year, threw 165 innings and was, even though his numbers look good, he was not a valuable or useful piece to the Mets down the stretch because he could only go 4 2/3 or 5 innings every start. And so the bullpen gets blown out. You know that it's a snowball effect. It's ridiculous. So I like Freddie Peralta, very good pitcher, 17 wins, sub-3 ERA last year. Hopefully the Mets will push him and ask him to pitch deeper into games than he did in Milwaukee. Nolan McLean, 8 starts last year. Did he look really good? Absolutely. But by no means can you just lock it in and be like, okay, this guy's going to be a stud number 2. Can he be? Sure. Will he be? Up for debate. Yeah. And then now you've got a group of Senga, who was last seen being good in 2023. David Peterson, who had a good first half, a terrible second half last year. Sean Manaea, who was injured and then bad last year, had a really good year 2 years ago. And Clay Holmes, who is okay. I mean, he's not great. He's like a decent 4th starter. So, there's a lot to be figured out still with this team. The lineup could be really good. You know, if Francisco Alvarez, the catcher, plays like he did when he came back up from the minors last year, if Polanco's still good, if Marcus Semien still has something left in the tank, if Lindor is going to be good regardless, despite this Hammett bone situation, you know, is Luis Robert going to be more the guy that hit 35 home runs in 2023, or is he going to be the guy that has 650 OPS the last 2 years?
Yeah.
You know, is Carson Benj, the rookie, ready to be the right fielder? So there's a lot of question marks.
And you know what, the question mark that when you're like, how you feeling on the Phillies? And then there was probably a little pause for me. And this is going to sound quite pessimistic. It's as a fan of an NL team, knowing that at the end of the day, you're probably going to have to face the Dodgers in the NLCS, who have a better lineup, better pitching. I mean, I don't think their bullpen's much better, but...
Well, if Diaz is Diaz, it is.
A good point. But yes, they just got him.
I know.
I don't know. I just feel like the cards are stacked against literally every team in the MLB other than the Dodgers.
It's crazy.
And I think that's, you know, next year when the players strike, and I know the owners are going to want to go to a salary cap, which I don't think is going to happen, but they got to do something where you can level the playing field a bit. Like, the Dodgers should not be able to just sign whoever they want to. Even the Yankees don't even do that anymore. Like, the Yankees just...
I know. I mean, they did institute this luxury tax as a means to supposedly guard against that. And, I mean, look, it's not like the Mets are cheap. The Mets are going to have a $335 million payroll this year.
Two top five payrolls, but it's still...
But it's like half of the Phillies. I know. It's crazy.
But it's also...
I mean, half of the Dodgers. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the Dodgers, though, but, like, you know, they're staggering all these payments. Like, it just seems... It's like, that's why salary caps are invented in every other professional sport.
Agreed.
So that one team cannot just be a super team and just say good luck.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, I thought the one thing I will say is there needs to be a floor also. You know, the days of, I mean, you know, let's be honest. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay and Cincinnati and Kansas City, they can all cry poor all they want. They're still owned by billionaires.
Yeah.
Okay? So stop pretending like you don't have any money. Mm-hmm. And you want to bitch and moan about your attendance figures? Well, maybe if you put a competitive product on the field, people would actually show up to your games. I mean, Pittsburgh, that's a beautiful ballpark. Yeah. Cincinnati's a nice ballpark. I mean, Tampa Bay's a dump. But, you know, those other teams, Kansas City's beautiful. There's no reason why those. So to me, there should be a floor. Like, there should be a minimum amount that those teams have to spend.
Yeah.
Right? $75 million, something like that. I mean, you know, you can't be spending $40 million on a major league roster. I mean, it's embarrassing.
No, totally.
It's ridiculous. So, anyway, yeah. So look. Hope springs eternal. This is the time of year. But I didn't love the Mets offseason, frankly. I don't think it was much of a plan. I think they kind of tried some stuff, and they're going to see if it sticks. And we'll see. All right, let's wrap it up with a little NBA talk.
Let's go.
So right now, who do you like making the finals in both the East and the West?
The West, I think the natural is the Thunder should repeat. I mean, even fleecing the Sixers for Jared McCain, who all of a sudden leads the league in 20
What?
He leads the league in 20-point off the bench games. All of those games have happened since he joined the Thunder 2 weeks ago.
Why would the Sixers get rid of him? Was this an apron situation? What the hell were they thinking?
Got below the luxury, the apron. Which I mean, you tell me what the apron is, and I don't even know.
I don't know. To be honest, it's so convoluted.
They go up and eat the apron.
Great.
But, you know, I actually heard this today, is that they traded Jared McCain because they got a first-round pick, 3 second-round picks. What I was hearing today is that, and reports have come out, that Daryl Morey was actually looking to acquire Kawhi Leonard. And maybe he was going to say like, hey, I'll give you all these draft picks for Paul George, and you give me Kawhi. Paul George, who's currently suspended for substance, whatever, using illegal substance.
Right.
The
Which
crazy
he claims was to address his mental health issues. But now, is the first round pick, is it this year's draft or is it a future first round pick?
No, it's this year's draft.
Okay. But that's still going to be like the 30th pick in the first round.
Nothing. It's going to be nothing.
I mean,
listen, the 30th.
Not that you can't get a good player there, you can, but I mean, it's not a lottery pick.
I think that it's going to be the Thunder easily in the West, which again, that's when things happen and they don't make it. And then I would say, look out for the Celtics. Look out for the Celtics. Jason Tatum's coming back. Jaylen Brown's having an incredible year. They've got a pretty deep team as far as players that can shoot and players that play.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to want to hear it. I don't think the Knicks are. I think the Knicks will be the Knicks in the playoffs.
No, listen, the Knicks are a very confounding team because they've looked very good the last two games. I mean, they did a number on the Spurs. Now, you could tell me, oh, well, it's a scheduled loss for the Spurs. It's the fifth in that game, whatever. They just won 11 in a row. And then they won against not a great, but a solid Toronto team last night in Toronto. But look, I've been saying this all year. The Knicks, to me, it's up to two guys. It's Bridges and Towns. If those guys play well, Knicks can beat anybody. The Knicks bench is much better than it was last year. You've got Mitch Rob coming off the bench. You got Alvarado now. This kid Mo Diawara is starting to emerge. And you got Deuce McBride, hopefully will be back. He's injured now. And then am I missing somebody else? Who am I missing?
You mentioned
and Landry Shamet. And Landry Shamet's played great this year.
You mentioned Bad Bunny, right?
Alvarado, yes.
Okay.
Yes, or Grand Theft Alvarado, as he's also referred to as.
I like that. I mean, you guys signed him after the halftime show, and everybody was like, oh, at least you guys signed Bad Bunny. I came up with that when I was talking to you on the phone watching the game.
You did. That was a
good one. You guys were crushing us.
That was pretty good. So the bench is much better. You know what you're going to get with Brunson. You kind of know what you're going to get with OG.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get from Hart. Last night's a perfect example. It was a close game late, and then Hart just said, okay, I'm going to get every rebound. I'm going to push the ball up the floor. I'm going to get guys layups. I'm going to get steals, block shots, whatever it takes.
Just to give people this as on the record, I grew up and still am a diehard Villanova fan. And remember the days when I watched Jalen Brunson's press conference announcing he was going to Villanova online. When all those guys signed and Jay Wright was building that team, I loved all those guys.
Yeah, those are your guys.
I still love Jalen Brunson. I still love Mikal Bridges. Still love Dante DiVincenzo. Josh Hart, for some reason, is just
Really?
There was an article written. I don't need to get into the details on it, but there was an article written by ESPN when the Sixers and the Knicks were playing each other 2 playoffs ago. We had won the play-in. It was the game. It was the series where Tyrese had the 50-point game, was hitting half-court shots to take it to Game 6, and it was just talked about, and he didn't dispute it in the interview how he's just kind of a dick, and I think that he's been in some. I don't know. Listen, do I think he's a great player? But I love him if he was on my team. Yes,
yeah.
But just I love Villanova Wildcat Josh Hart that put up, I think, something like 20-something, 30 points when we routed Oklahoma by 40 points in the Final Four in, I think that was 2016 or 2017. The second Villanova championship, but the first of Jay Wright's too. I was also in Cuba watching that Chris Jenkins shot in a hotel lobby by myself on a Monday night.
Nice.
Where I had the bartender rooting for Villanova, and all of a sudden this older couple sit down in the lobby. Again, it's just me and the bartender. I grew up in Latin America. I speak fluent Spanish, so it was just us conversing, me getting super excited, me borrowing the bartender's phone to call my dad because my phone in Cuba didn't work. And this lovely couple, well, I should say lovely now, but they come in, they sit down, and they're like, oh, look, the game's on. And I look over and I go, who are you rooting for? And they're like, well, we are from North Carolina, but we're NC State people, but we'll root for the Carolinas. And I just looked and I was like, I'm a diehard Villanova fan.
Blasphemy.
Let's keep your fandom to yourself right now.
Nonsense. That's nonsense. You can't root for North Carolina if you're an NC State fan. I mean, it's not quite the rivalry that Duke North Carolina is, but it's pretty close. I'm an old school ACC guy. I went to University of Maryland back in the 80s when they were in the ACC, and I can tell you, everybody hated North Carolina and Duke. Everybody.
Can you hear the trainer? I mean, taking it back, like my daughter's working the bag right now too.
I was going to say, she working some roundhouse kicks back there? What's she doing?
First time I've ever seen it. I'd love how she does this during our first show.
But anyway, getting back to the Knicks, look, it's going to come down to Towns and Bridges. Those guys play well. They can beat anybody. But I'm with you on the Celtics. I'm scared of them.
I mean, the Pistons are good.
What's that?
Pistons are good. I mean,
Pistons are good. And the Pistons seem to have the Knicks number, and the Pistons seem to be a bad matchup for the Knicks because the Knicks don't really have anybody that can guard Cade. OG can't really stay with him. He's too quick for him, and Bridges is too small for him. And that Osor Thompson kid can do a little number on Brunson, and Duran can take care of Cat. So,
and then you've got the amazing Tobias Harris.
Well, I mean, I think that's the Pistons' Achilles heel, though, is that if Cade has an off-shooting night, who's going to pick up the slack? They don't really have that other guy from a perimeter perspective. Mm-hmm. So it should be interesting. I mean, look, the Knicks are 40 and 22.
Not to be overlooked either.
What's that?
Cleveland's not to be overlooked either.
No, especially now that they have Harden, who I hate, by the way. And I did a whole thing about what a quitter he is, and it galls me. I mean, that guy's quit on 4 teams already. It's long documented. I don't even need to go into it. But including your team, by the way.
I know.
After he begged to go there, and Daryl Morey saved his ass and brought him there, and then he threw a little temper tantrum. He didn't want to be there anymore either. I mean, he's such an unlikable figure. He's a really good player, but his playoff track record, as you know, stinks.
Yes.
But right now, it looks like he and Donovan Mitchell are a very good pairing, unfortunately, for the rest of the league.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to get back into the James Harden days as a Sixer. I loved him. He had some great games. He had some real duds, as he tends to do. But, you know, it was. I really thought. Actually, I don't want to get into it. It's a dark memory.
I mean, the Sixers, if you guys have your full complement, you could be a little dangerous. Maybe win a series, but that's your ceiling this year, right?
I mean, listen, this is going to be the homer in me. If you get our starting 5 in a playoff game, not worried about load management and just playing, I really think that they have a chance to beat anybody. Not necessarily, not on the Western Conference.
Right, but in the East.
But in the East, could they beat anybody? Yes. That's how much talent they have. Their depth, the depth has to...
Not great.
Quentin Grimes has to hit a shot.
That's my guy. I like Quentin Grimes. I was bummed when the Knicks traded him. But I know he's very up and down.
Since we traded Jared McCain, because we decided to go with Quentin Grimes, again, apparently Morey traded for those picks because he wanted to sell high on McCain, get some picks, go star him. He even said, this is, we're going to do something else. We didn't. And that's where it's like, well, what happened? I remember when that trade went down and McCain got traded, my buddy texted me, he goes, this has got to be something different. I didn't even know about it. I was like, what happened? Like, Jared McCain just got traded for a first and 3 seconds to the OK City Thunder. I was like, what?
I was really surprised when I saw it because I'm like, this guy's an ascending young player. He doesn't cost a lot of money. Like, what? Why would you get rid of him? And to Oklahoma City, like, they need him, by the way. I mean, they got enough good guys as it is. My pick, by the way, from the West, though, is the Spurs. I think that team is ridiculously loaded.
Sixers by 40 last night.
I mean, I know, but you guys didn't play anybody. I mean, no Embiid, obviously no Paul George.
Hurt himself. Listen to this. The Sixers don't have, Embiid, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, who we have mixed feelings on.
Yeah, is not my favorite.
And VJ Edgecombe hurt his back yesterday. So 4 of our actual 5 projected starters are not playing tonight. And when I looked at ESPN today, the projector still has us at 75% likelihood to win against the Utah Jazz.
Oh, yeah, well, the Jazz are, as we know, in full tank mode, and we can talk about that another time. But anyway, so I've got the Spurs coming out of the West, and if Tatum, it's a caveat, but if Tatum comes back, I think the Celtics are going to come out of the East.
They talk about, and naturally they talk about, but everybody's like, well, they're playing pretty well. Is throwing another alpha into that mix of how well they're playing, not most of those guys have already played with them.
Of course.
But he's going to be fresh.
He might be, or he could be rusty, right? Like, that's the thing. You don't know. So.
But no, they're just talking about, and I saw something today. It's not if he comes back, it's when he comes back this year.
Wow. Well, that's going to be a boon for them. All right. That is going to do it for this episode of Jamal About Sports. Thank you very much to my good friend Chuck Gora for joining me here.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. Look forward to the next.
All right, my man. Be well.
Yep.
Peace out.